An executive order by President Donald Trump may force major changes at the Whitney Plantation in Louisiana. The site, which is on the Mississippi River in St. John Parish, has been turned into a museum focused on the enslaved people who once lived and were forced to work there. Now, a new exhibit about slave resistance is in limbo as they await word from the federal government. Alyssa Curtis spoke with the museum's executive director about what this means for the future of historic preservation.
Every day, people from all over the world visit Whitney Plantation in Wallace, Louisiana to learn about the history of slaves. Right now, part of that tour includes this exhibit on extractivism. But in January 2026, it's supposed to be home to a new display on a topic that's not often taught: slave resistance.
It's very important that for sites of enslavement that we make sure that we are always emphasizing the fact that enslaved people did not accept their condition willingly, that they were in a constant state of resistance and rebellion.
But now, after almost 3 years of working on it alongside UNO, the future of that project is unclear.
To spend nearly 3 years on a project that at the very end, what we're waiting for is the funds to be able to complete design and fabrication. That means that there wouldn't be an exhibit, essentially.
The museum does not rely on federal money to operate, but they sometimes receive grants for special projects. A grant they had already partially received from the Institute of Museum and Library Services through its Museum Grants for African American History and Culture program was suddenly pulled earlier this month. They received this letter stating, quote, "IMLS has determined that your grant is unfortunately no longer consistent with the agency's priorities and no longer serves the interest of the United States and the IMLS program." The letter says they'll instead use the money to further the president's agenda.
Obviously, we were very disappointed in this.
Then days later, a second letter came. This one says if the museum submits certain information, they, quote, may request an IMLS review of the termination decision. Executive Director Ashley Rogers is confused because the entire IMLS staff was put on administrative leave, according to NPR. She doesn't know who to turn to.
This isn't just a hurdle for the planned exhibit. Rogers says the Trump administration's targeting of African American history will hinder this community and the country.
That's a slippery slope, right? We can look at the past and clearly see that changing our narratives about our shared stories does never lead to anything positive.
They remain committed to finishing the work of the exhibit in any way they can, as they want to ensure the history of Black people in this country is always accurately portrayed. In Wallace, Alyssa Curtis, WWL, Louisiana.
We did reach out to IMLS to get more information on the grant and the future of the program, but we have not heard back.